One thing that struck me, and I think probably struck a lot of people watching you pitch, was you were a fierce competitor. And you were driven, it seemed, and reading your book brings this out. You prepared yourself to compete by channeling anger.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well, I most of the time felt like ever since I started, I had no space to fail. So watching every one of you with opportunities to do pretty much anything in life, it would be kind of unfair to just say, oh, you have a better chance than me does. Why not everybody gets the same chances and see what you can do? And that's pretty much the kind of challenges that we get put through sometimes, coming from very low on non-income families and facilities as well. We lived in a shack, 6 kids, 4 boys, 2 girls. Well, 4 boys got the advantage because we took the doll's head and 3 of us made it through baseball. But my older brother Ramon is a good-looking guy. He's tall, he looks like a model, he's a good athlete. I wanted to follow up in his footsteps and help him out because my brother didn't make it easy either. It's never easy for a kid coming from Dominican. And I'll give you one number that you'll probably search later. You guys don't know. But you know, you have a Dominican jersey on. Yeah, I'm proud of you too. You know exactly where we come from, and this is going to be an interesting number because it's probably the only place where you haven't found one baseball player that comes from a middle to upscale family. We are, pound per pound, probably the best mind of ball players in the world. You compare us to the States in the same size, no comparison. We produce more ball players than anybody in baseball, pound per pound. Now, how many have made it from middle class to upper scale? None. The rest from down there where I come from. And it's interesting to be able to have this conversation with you guys because you guys are in the dream of the schools for every kid that dreams about coming to school. And that kind of anger that I carry with me was probably not having the strength to pull off what I wanted for my family, for me as an athlete, for me as the physical body that was out there trying to compete with guys that look better. Some of these guys, look at this one. I was about 138 when I got to the academy the first time. You know, pushing it, trying to eat as much as I could at the academy. Got to 148. And pretty much a lady's kind of weight. And then I was never singled out as someone that in baseball was projected to be. And I never said anything. I listened to a lot, but I kept it all in here. Now I'm speaking, you know, openly about it. But back in those days, I just had to listen, swallow it, bring it out, then bring it out competing. And the umpires will be, as soon as I got to the field, a lot of you probably went to Fenway to see some of those Yankee games and Boston Red Sox games, and I'll be getting middle fingers from the Yankees fans, and I'll just be looking like I'm dead. I'm numb to it. I don't care really. What I wanted to tell those guys that actually didn't understand why I carry that chip on my shoulder, and the umpires would go, Pedro, keep it clean. We know you have a chip on your shoulder. Come on now, give us a clean game. I said, you keep them clean. Because if I let out all this anger I have and all this, strength within to actually survive and become better and become who I am today and be able to sit down here, I had to kick, fight, and scratch anybody. And even if I had to sometimes just how many pitchers here? You understand you have to protect your bodies, right? If I had to do it, don't fear. I survived it. So if you guys have to do it, don't be afraid. It's all part of the game. If I survived it, you could, definitely. So that's pretty much why all those things came together. Being angry about not being given the same opportunity that other guys that look probably bigger or stronger were given. And also, when I got the chance to make it to the academy, you can't help it but to compare yourself to the other ones competing by you. Yes, he has a better body, he looks better physically, but he's not doing what I'm doing. And that piles up in your heart. And if you're not smart enough to actually swallow all that, listen to all that, and express it competing, sometimes it might lead you to other things. As soon as you snap in one of those academies, being from where I am, you're out. You guys are disciplined here, very educated, but over there there's no other chance. You guys have good schools. We're probably in a third world country with probably, if not the worst school system, probably really close. Haiti and the Dominican Republic, I don't know how many of you are aware with it. We are in some of the poorest part of the Caribbean. And when you get a legit chance to even get close to a big league team, you don't want to let go of it. So it's not because you want to, it's not because you just have to build another level of discipline in order for you to get to that point. And all those things piled up together. And then I used to go, when I was his age, how old is he? How old are you? 10?
Yeah.
I used to walk every day with my dog. Viejo, let's go get mom. I had to walk probably like a mile and a half to where the bus will drop my mom from working to just bring my mom over and kind of make sure that mom was okay. Because I was really close to my mom, and I'm still really close to my mom. I was really close to my dad, but I feel like I was my mom's best friend out of all the kids. And I wanted to be with my mom all the time. And when I stopped to look at how my mom and my dad were struggling to raise us, all 6 of us, and Ramon was the first one to take off through baseball to actually try to help out, but rookie ball, you don't make any money. A ball, you don't make any money. Double A ball, you don't make any money. You get to Triple A and it's barely money for you to survive and start probably getting an ATM card so that when you're hungry, you don't. And being that skinny, like Ramon was and I was, all you want to do is save money to eat. To actually see if you can build up your body and support what comes during a 6-7 month period of pitching on top of a mound. And then you're trying to haul 98, 97. You're trying to keep it as much as you can. And the sources sometimes just become slim. So all those things piled up and led me to a place where nobody could probably imagine that I was going to go mentally. I went to think that if I didn't finish the 20 laps that they told me, and then 5 more, every time I ran, I said, if I don't run at least 5 laps after these 20 laps that they just told me to do, I'm not going to become better than those guys. And then my mom is going to go back to the same struggles that we were, and she won't have meals on the table. And sometimes I even thought to extreme. I even imagine mentally, this is me personally, don't do that. Don't be that crazy. But I always thought of my mom being sitting on a chair, pretty much kidnapped by two guys that said, if you don't finish those 30 laps and then give me 5 more, your mom won't eat. And my mind stage would just change. Because sometimes at 30 laps, 25 laps, running uphill, you feel like you're tired. But then I took it mentally to another level. I would just say, well, if I don't finish this next 5 laps, my mom won't eat. And it's like I was just running, but I didn't know what I was doing. And then by the end of the last lap, the end of the last 5 laps that I chose to do extras to just become better than everybody else that did 20 or 30, that 35th lap, I'll be running like crazy. And I didn't know why the last lap was so much faster than the first one and the middle ones. It was necessity that took me there. It was the passion for what I did. It was trying to step out and never fail for my family. And you know what, today, I can tell you, I'm extremely proud I did it. Because not only my mom and dad were people that I should have done it for, but the way they taught us to do it was the most important thing. And the way they supported us. Even when I was about to retire, there is a famous quote in the Dominican. When I got there, I was announced a Hall of Famer, Pedro Martinez, January 6th. Everybody's so proud. Everybody's so happy. I got back, I got a plane, private plane, and there's a whole party going on. They have me sitting by my mom in a press conference, and this is funny. I'm sitting there, and I'm the center of attention. The media is asking all kinds of questions. One of the reporters come over, says, what about your kids, Ramon and Pedro? How do you feel? She goes, I feel really proud of my kids. And they did what we taught them to do. Go work hard, be the way they wanted to be. And they were asking, well, Pedro pitching in that era, how do you feel that your son was out there pretty much naked compared to the other guys? She goes, well, I remember him telling me, Mom, I have a sore shoulder. Because I'll tell my mom, that'll pretty much be the only person I will be open to tell, I'm hurting, Mom. And she says, well, the thing I'm most proud of is that when he told me that, I told him, if you want to quit now and have 10 millions less or 2 millions or have none, quit. You've done enough. Come home. Come home and we'll take you like that. But then she says, but I told him to come home clean. Mm-hmm. Come home clean. You know the importance of that word? Come home clean. She didn't care if I came back poor. She didn't care how short my career was. She didn't care about anything. She just wanted to keep that Martinez last name clean. And that's the kind of fathers I had, and that's the reason why I pushed it so hard. Imagine so many crazy things to actually run extra laps.
Right.
Sometimes go crazy about running and not even think about what would happen. No way out, and the only way out was through baseball, through discipline, going the extra mile. That's how all those things develop.
All right, I want to ask you about one other dimension. You also brought, and you bring to your life, very strong spiritual convictions.
Yes.
And this was also visible when you played,
yes,
to those of us who watched. And I'd like to ask you a question about it. We've mentioned a couple of the great moments in your career. And to that, we could add the 1999 All-Star game in Fenway Park that you started, and you struck out 5 of 6
Yes.
of the batters you faced.
Another game that I get mentioned a lot, especially here in Boston. Oh yeah, Ted Williams!
But I'd like to ask you about a game that's not on that list of greatest moments, but it's one that I remember watching. And this is in the last season of your career with the Phillies in the World Series in 2009.
Yes.
Now, you had come back in the playoffs, and you threw 7 shutout innings against the Dodgers.
Yes.
And then in the World Series, as a Philly, you faced the Yankees
Yes.
in Game 2, I think.
Yes.
And you pitched well, not 7 shutout innings as previously, reasonably well, but you lost. And I think you were lifted in the 7th inning.
Yeah, and the 6th and 3rd, Game 2.
Okay.
Right there, 1 out away, but right there.
And this was in Yankee Stadium, wasn't it?
Yes.
Where all of the history was raining down on you
Yes.
from the stands. And you walked off the mound at what I thought might be a shattering moment. But you looked, and you looked at the sky, and you looked almost blissful, and there was a smile,
Yes.
as if you were in another place.
Yes.
And I wondered, what were you thinking then, and what were the spiritual resources that brought the smile to your face at that moment, with all of this abuse raining down on you in the last World Series of the last year of your career?
Well, it's interesting, but I'm always thinking ahead of the pile. And I figure I pitched 7 innings on 17 days. A guy that was used to pitching every 4 days, if not 3 days, for a team for most of his career. Now this team kind of lost faith on the new guy that came over, even though I led them to the playoffs. The Phillies didn't know me as well. They didn't know what drove me like you do. They couldn't perceive what you guys got to see so many years here in Boston. And they went with their guys, and as a last source, not having anybody else, they dropped me in 17 days without pitching on a mound to face the Dodgers. I did that. Now in that second game, it's 13 days later. Those are not times where I'm accustomed to pitching. I'm accustomed to 3 to 5 days in order for me to go and pitch another game. But I did it. No complaints, because you still got to go and do it. No complaints. There's no crying in baseball. So I went in, and I did pretty well. And as everything is coming down on me, and who's your daddy? I'm listening, and I could only say, thank you, God, for allowing me to have one more game. That's a sign, right? Thank you, God, for allowing me to have one more bullet against the Yankees. Now they're chanting, who's your daddy? But they were on the ropes on a guy that was pitching on 13 days rest. Didn't really have the best stuff at that moment. They're chanting, who's your daddy? But I've only given up 2 hits. Thank you. So how dumb are the Yankees fans to call, who's your daddy when I have pitched a 2-hitter? 13 days rest. And even though I ended up with the loss, you know, I'm pitching one more game against you guys. And then I had to smile because I survived one more day, and I'm thankful. And I'm in Yankee Stadium, and you guys are chanting, who's your daddy? That's getting rid of your fear of me blanking you. And that's how I'm looking at you. I'm looking like, yeah, keep chanting it. You know you're not dealing with just an easy cat. You know, I have one more bullet for you too the next time, because I came out healthy. And that's what mattered the most to me. So that made me laugh right away. As soon as I got rid of my assignment, I know I did it well enough, even though it shows a loss. I did it well. I did the best that I could. That's one thing that we athletes remember. Whenever you did the best you could do, don't you ever hang your head. Don't let the Yankees stare you down. Don't let anybody stare you down. Keep on looking forward. Yeah, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you. So what? I got the loss, so what? So what? Because I know I did whatever I could. I gave up 5, so what? I got lead up, so what? So what? That was the kind of spirit I had every time I faced adversity. Yeah, you beat me today, but you beat me at my best. I didn't do anything that I wasn't supposed to do. Just keep on fighting, keep on fighting, keep on fighting, compete. And when you do the best that you could, don't feel like you failed. There's no failure on effort. Give 100% effort, there's no failure. Hustle, your ground ball to first base, hustle. There's no slump for hustle. The same thing in life. I'm doing the best that I can to live it the best way possible. Yes, limited. Education, limited. Graduated from baseball, yes. High honors in baseball, yes. The rest of the stuff, well, I will never be him. But I don't know that I can hand him a ball and just go, hey, let's go play catch.
I'm willing to try. I'm willing to try. And yet,